Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is Things I Learned with Bulldog's Nature's Prophet in 706. Before I start this video, I just want to remember everyone that BSJ's coaching session is tomorrow at around 10 PM UTC, and tomorrow is Monday. Also, as you know, this channel was dead for pretty much 1 month, which means that YouTube hates me right now, and he is intentionally not sending as many notifications as usual. If you missed the videos or is just wondering why you're not seeing all of them, make sure to click the bell close to the subscription button. This game is very interesting because it's the mirror matchup I talked about in the last video. The funny thing about it is that Sven is pretty good against Nature's Prophet in lane, but considerably bad as the game unfolds. The amount of different items that an NP can build to fight against him, the map presence that goes against what Sven wants to do, which is group up and push a lane as well as sprout, makes NP a great pick in this game. That being said though, NP can lane against Sven. It's just not his best lane. As the game starts, we already see Bulldog sending treants to scout and harass the rune. The fact that it takes a while for them to get there makes them the perfect harassing tool, since they will probably expire before they get killed. He also makes treants as soon as the cooldown gets back, and only then leaves the base. Thanks to boots, he's able to get to the enemy rune in time, and mind you, this is only possible in the Radiant side because the distance from the Dire base to the Radiant carry rune is a little bit bigger. With another use of treants, he makes sure to establish dominance here, and since there's a decent time until the creeps meet, this is the perfect time to pop the clarity. You want as much mana as possible to guarantee your level 2 by bullying carry and supports with treants. The ability to go back instantly to the fountain and TP back at level 2 while also buying items is one of the best things about Nature's Prophet in the offlane. One interesting thing to that last set of treants achieve is blocking. Pay attention to how Bulldog does it. With him and that treant side by side, he has way more surface area, and this really helps in blocking. In fact, even though he started his block really far off, he gets a great position in lane, but gets careless. Bounty was there the whole time. It's pretty cool that he micros his treants to block AA, but the damage was too big, and he falls. But also, see how he keeps using treants here as much as possible? He pretty much sends Bounty Hunter back to the base of this. Unlike other offlanes, this death is actually super costly for Bulldog because his level 2 is not as strong now because TP will be on cooldown when he gets it. And while in a lane like this one that is not exactly favored, it's usually just better to jungle, to be honest. Nature's Prophet's strength is being able to zone pretty much every support in the game with treants, but Bounty Hunter can bypass them and it's just too risky at this point. He makes sure to keep vision on Sven, and he feels fine for now since he has vision of AEA close to Roshan, so he's not gonna get solo killed by a Bounty Hunter. Since he was able to get level 2, he easily TPs mid during the Bounty Hunter rotation. And pay attention how his TP is great. Most people just TP in front of what they want to kill, but Bulldog TPs in the enemy high ground area, guaranteeing the kill, since this is usually the path that people will retreat. With the dust ending, they just give up on Bounty Hunter while he goes back to the tower since the lane is pushing. After that though, he needs to keep jungling, and I want to point out that he never stacks for himself. Usually, your treants at this point just take too much damage, and it's better to just clear single camps. If your treants die, maybe if Bounty Hunter finds you, he's just gonna try to trade hits and you're not gonna be able to trade as effectively too, so there's that as well. You're usually afraid of roamers, but with vision from AA top, he can farm just fine. This might feel a little Resident Sleeper, but going back to lane is risky unless the lane is pushing.
Resident Sleeper, this is not how you want to lane Prophet. But that's what makes Prophet good
also.
You can do it if you're losing the lane. That's what's so good about it.
For sure.
It's also worth noting that he doesn't TP in ganks that are almost over or with supports. He went for the Mirana kill, but ignore AA in Roshan as well as this other gank here. Not only this lane farming experience while he is under leveled is very important, but it's also cardy time, so staying in the lane is important as hell. A great use of treants that we did not mention before because he was pretty much using all his treants to farm is blocking the large camp. The reason the lane is pushing now is because Sven is farming both large camp and wave, and Prophet is great at dealing with that by just leaving the treants and blocking there.
Really important to block this. Right?
En route.
He does have TPSing.
It's also noteworthy that at level 7 and 8 he learns teleportation instead of treants. Level 3 is definitely enough to push lanes and farm jungle, meaning that in a game like this one that has an IO and tons of fights all over the place, the reduced cooldown is way more relevant. In my opinion, one of the biggest strengths of Nature's Prophet is his versatility in items. Bulldog usually rushes drums and very rarely goes Midas. Drums is a great item. The mana regen change is something a lot of people undervalue, especially in a hero with so much intelligence like Nature's Prophet. Also, the purpose of the hero is farming and pushing lanes and joining teamfights. Jun is great in all of those things, and also synergizes pretty well with your Treants. Since we're talking items, I'm pretty sure he was almost never without a TP in his inventory. This is great because he can get out of ganks that go wrong, TP in another lane to defend in case Sven decides to use a fight that he TPs to as a distraction to get towers. Just always carry one. With his team grouping bottom but still a little bit far away from taking the tower, his move to go top is great. There's a chance someone feels forced to defend, and then he can TP bottom to win a fight. He TPs in the fog. This is something he tries to do a lot when ganking, and since there's not a lot of vision of enemies, pay attention how he farms the wave with Treants alone, but while in experience range. This is something that Enigma players do a lot as well. Since he shoved the lane, Sven goes there, allowing Bulldog to get a decent engagement as well as bottom tier 1, just crisp. All of this was possible because he skipped Treants level 4 until this point, giving him exactly the perfect cooldown to go for this play. Talking about items still, he deviates from his usual build that is usually straight Orchid. Having Solar Crest this game is great. 3 of their cores primarily deal physical damage since this Mirana is going for Dragonlance. The item also helps him farm pretty fast. He can use it on Treants and Crypts while they tank tower, and on top of all that, they can Roshan even faster with it. When FNG incarnates Eternal Envy, we also see that he uses Medallion before Sven is able to pop Warcry.
Actually, I can you tip it up? Can you tip it up? Can you tip it up?
Yeah.
Right now, tip it. Kill me goes there.
And they shred him. This gave way too little time for Sven to manage to lifesteal or kill anyone, so that was pretty clutch in my opinion. We see Drums being the difference maker in this other AA rotation, and at this point, every hero in the map is a certain kill for Bulldog. Solar Crest ends up being pretty much like an Orchid that is cheaper and has like other uses as well. In this other team fight, Bulldog TPs, and pay attention to his decision making. He Solar Crests Sven and only commits Sprout after the ult is committed, making him lose a lot of time. This alone buys a lot of time, and later on he uses the rest of Sprout to cast Treants and just keeps wasting Black's time. Since he was carrying Dust, he's able to TP here, kill Bounty Hunter, and the Solar Crest guarantees them a very early Roshan before Mirana even TPs into the shrine. The item had a lot of impact here, and I feel like another reason not to go Orchid in this game is that the item is way too expensive against a team full of heroes that go BKB anyways. Solar Crest can help his allies if Sven has BKB, and it's just way cheaper. As they take top tier 2, pay attention how Bulldog cancels his TP when they go on Sven, even though the animation was already going. The fact he does that allows them to chase more targets, specifically AA, and thanks to this beautiful Sprout, the game is pretty much over at this point.
I have that.
I'm coming with that as well. We go more here maybe?
Hey.
Yeah, I can get him.
I believe you.
Oh, they're going on me.
Like they're on long.
Oh, he's going on me here?
Oh, get that.
He can kill you, every song.
Solar Crescent.
Can we back up?
Eventually, Radiant just groups up to push top, and you can see how tanky the Treant is with the Solar Crest buff. The push slowly unfolds, and you can see how slow Legion kills Io here thanks to Solar Crest. It almost saved FNG, and at this point the game is just over. Nature's Prophet is definitely a great late game hero, but knowing when and how to finish a game early is very important. There's a time to 5-man and a time to split push, and in this game, 5-manning was definitely correct. Bounty Hunter and Ancient Apparition are terrible in wave clear. Sven was crippled even though he had a great laning phase, and in the end, they win pretty easily. As of always, Pugna is a platform where you can learn from people like Chessie, Fog, Munib, Waga, and get better at the game. They have now great content on the new patch. There's a lot of cool stuff to see there. There's Oracle as well, don't forget about that. Oracle is free, and you can get a 360 of your good things and bad things about your play, so just check it out. Also guys, I am streaming daily. I always start streaming at 12 PM UTC, so check it out, the link is in the description. Bye.